Hi everybody, it's Caroline here and welcome back to my channel. Yes, we are in March and yes, I am still working with the February Best of Both Worlds kit, but I am determined to get this kit all completed, all of the challenges that Shamel laid down done this week, by the end of this weekend, so that I can move on to the March kit. Because if you've been watching along, you'll know that I was working with the January kit well into February, which kind of slowed everything down. So that's not going to be the case. I'm going to crush this kit and then get a few bits that I may not have used into my stash and move on to the March kit. So my March kit has arrived. I did need to swap in quite a few things, so I will give a little intro at the beginning of the first video that I use with my March kit, just to show you what everything is, and I will also link all of the supplies that I purchased in the description box. I've not done that before, but I will do that with that first video. So today's challenge is working with a black and white photo. The sketch that Shamel put together when she created this page included 2 3x4 photos, and so that's what I have got today. I've got these 2 photos of me and my husband, and so I will be scrapbooking those. And the main design elements on Shamel's page was she had a very light background. Then she did a lot of inking with Distress Oxide and some stencils on that background with the pink and the orange that are part of this kit's kind of palette. Then she had the photos kind of in the centre of the page like this, and then here she had a 4x4 square card, I think, a 4x4 square card here, a journaling area underneath the photos, and then some tags and embellishments tucked in as paper layers behind the photos. And then she had a scattering of embellishments up here and a scattering of embellishments down there. So that was her page design and the sketch that she put together, and I'm going to use the sketch, but I am going to do things a little bit differently. You'll see that I've got this black with white polka dot paper, and this I've got as a full sheet. This is what I've got, one of the full sheets that I've got left. I think it's actually the only full sheet I've got left, unless I dip into those doodlebug backgrounds. And I loved working with the black cardstock last week, and so I really want to. This is a really pretty bright daisy kind of floral pattern, but I really want to use this, especially with the black and white photos and with that stripe. So I've been saving this piece of striped paper for the whole month. I used a little bit of this side on the very first layout, I think, that I did with this kit, and then I knew that I wanted to keep this this stripe, and I can't remember who it was, but some lovely subscriber made a comment that this striped paper would be amazing with black and white photos, and then Shamel put the challenge together for black and white photos, and so I thought, yeah. So rather than the photos in the middle and then a box and a box, I am going to just have a strip of this gorgeous colour, this gorgeous stripe, sorry, in the background, and then I'm going to build from there. So I'm still going to have those tag elements and things tucked in. And whereas with Shamel's design, she had a lot of interest on these 2 all kind of big motifs because it was cards, this will just have that stripe, but I don't mind that, and we'll just see where we go. I might end up adding in a couple of cutter parts to build more embellishments there. I might leave it a little bit more simple. I really don't know where I'm going to go with it, but I just know that I've got to use that black with the white polka dot, and I have got to use this stripe because I love it. So I think I'm probably going to cut it so that I've got a bracket, if you like, of the kind of minty teal colour. So I will probably cut it there, and actually that still gives me a nice chunk of the stripe to use on a different page, because I have got 2 challenges left to do with this kit. So I have got this one, and then I have the wreath challenge, which I've already got a plan for that one, and then the final challenge that Shamel did, she was obviously using up all the bits of her kit that she had, and she actually used a free cut file. Now I have actually got a die cutting machine. I don't use cut files and background, so I think I am going to use that. I really want to challenge myself to do it because I've never ever done it before on a 12x12 layout. So I'm really looking forward to giving that one a go. So it may well be that I could use bits of this as behind that heart cut apart, who knows. But for today, this is what we're doing. We're doing these two photos, black and white, gorgeous stripe, tag embellishments at the top. The journaling was underneath the photo, but I actually may put it to one side. I'm using the lines of the stripe. Title down here, scattering of embellishments, and good to go. So I will pop you on fast forward and take you along for the journey. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to go through all of the scraps of paper that I've got left in this kit to look for cut aparts, those square pieces that will be tucked along the top of this striped piece of paper, and any papers or elements that I could use as tags. Now, on the original design that Chamel worked with, I'm fairly sure she had 2 or 3 tags and 3 or 4 of the square embellishments, and then she also tucked in some of the stickers. So I know I've got some stickers that I'll want to use with this, so I'm setting the sticker sheet aside for now, and I'm just going to create 2 piles. So I'm just going through here this cut apart sheet to see if there are any of the motifs that will work with this story, and really it's only going to be that heart one that will work. But I know I have got another cut apart sheet with squares on where there are a couple of motifs, a couple of sentiments that will work. So just going through, making a pile, popping things onto the one side of my desk if I want them, and over onto another side of the desk if I think they're not going to work for this. So I straight away know that I'm going to want to use this you and me and the love, so I'm just going to cut those out straight away. Now, when I was looking through earlier, I saw what those 6x4, I want to say sentiment cards from the Simple Stories collection, and there was the one that says "So Happy Together," the red one, that I hadn't planned to bring in anything like that, and it doesn't fit with the sketch, but the whole point of a sketch is it's just there to guide and inspire, and that you can go your own way. So I'm cutting that out, and I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, but I know that it works well, it looks lovely, and it fits really well with the story that I'm going to tell. So at the moment I'm just tucking it up the top. Nothing has got adhesive on at all. I'm just moving things around, just keeping things nice and loose and playing with the elements that I've got. So here I'm cutting out that piece that just says heart. I'm not going to use any of the other squares from this, but I know I have a couple of projects, as I said, coming up where I will use a few more of those cut aparts. My aim is to use them all because now there's just a few pieces left. If they go into my stash basket, I'll never see it again. So I want to try to use all of that paper up on the projects to come. Now, one thing in the back of my mind at this point is that I'm running out of embellishments. There was only one sticker sheet that I put into my kit. I've used that a lot, so I know I'm running out of embellishment. So I'm looking here at this scrap of border strip paper, seeing if I can do anything, and I have this piece left from this heart paper, and I'm going to trial fussy cutting out one of the hearts to see how that will go, because I've already got that heart motif on that square up the top there. So even though it's not backed on the cream with the H or the heart under it, it's the same motif that I'll be able to repeat, and I like it. It looks really, really good. People laugh at me at the size of the scissors that I use and the fact that I often do use them to fussy cut things like hearts. I wouldn't use them for something that's really intricate, but I do for simple shapes. Now you'll see there what I've done is I've fussy cut out that "So Happy Together" from that 6x4 card, and I've also punched out a tag from some pink paper. You can see my tag punch there on the left hand side. It's a Fiskars tag punch. Really like it because I like the size of it. It's not too big, and it also has a secondary punch within it so that you can create the hole for the tag. So I'm moving things around. I know I'm going to have 2 pink tags and 1 black and white tag. I've got that "So Happy Together," and I'm just trying to decide whether I want the "So Happy Together" at the top of the kind of cluster of layers that I'm building, or if I want it on the left hand side of the photos with my journaling on the right hand side. So you'll see me moving things around. Ultimately I do decide to pop it over on the left hand side. I really like it in both places. I think it could have worked really well, and I'm really pleased that I did actually cut it out because it looked lovely and dramatic on the red background as it was designed, but with the added interest of that scalloped edge, you can't really see it very well on the screen, but there's a gorgeous scalloping to the edge of the border, and it just looks really, really pretty. You'll see over on the right hand side of the screen I've got my ink out, so I'm using a distress ink, and I'm just inking all of my edges in black ink. Lots and lots of fussy cutting off camera now of those hearts, so that I've got a big stack of those that I can use to scatter around as embellishments. Now this is the first point when I'm going to actually bring in any adhesive. So I'm going to start, I'm staggering on my photos, just about to stick things down, and then I suddenly think I had intended to offset the striped paper so that you had that border of black around the edge, but I decided not to because I'm going to gut it. So I measured the striped paper and it was just over 4 inches, which gives me a 4-inch strip of paper. And because I really like that black with the white polka dot paper, I thought, right, I'm just going to gut the middle, stick it on some old cardstock, and then that gives me the black with the white paper for a further project. So really happy that I did that. I had intended for the striped paper to be slightly higher than it is with this design, but I'm happy with the compromise, knowing that I've got a piece, a 4 by 12 inch piece of that paper left. So that's really, really good. So all I've done at the moment is stuck down the photos and that stripe, and now I'm just moving things around, looking from above to see what I really like. And this is the design that I'm going to come up with as my favourite one. So the tags, one of the tags push behind the stripe, and the other two behind the photos, and behind that So Happy Together. So it really gives that lovely layered effect. I think it looks much better if you see, look, it looks much nicer with those layers at the front, in front of the stripe. So just going to lightly tack things down, so a little bit of adhesive just to hold things into place and see if I'm happy with how they are. Everything's inked, so I can just go ahead and start to stick. So finding, I want a nice kind of incline on the tags, if you like. I want the black and white one to stick higher, just stand higher than the two pink ones, so that it goes up, your eye travels up and then back down, so there's a nice point to the design. Now that I've got all of those tags built up into that space, I'm deciding whether or not to add in any more elements to the top. I'm happy with how they look, but I feel now that it's a bit weighty up there, so I've decided that I want to add a border strip to the bottom of the striped paper, and I'm going to just use this lovely heart on pink, this tone-on-tone pink, with my scalloped border punch. So just going to punch that out, ink it. It's only a little tiny bit, but I think it makes such a massive difference to bring that touch of pink down to the bottom of the page. I was really happy with my choice to cut the striped paper so that it had kind of brackets of the aqua, but I think it looks lovely with that scalloped pink on the bottom, and it kind of copies, it reinforces that scallop that you've got on the So Happy Together subtitle. Now I want to start building up my embellishment clusters, so I've brought in those hearts that I've fussy cut. There's lots of different variations of colour in those hearts on that paper, so I have tried to cut one that's got red and one that's got orange, so I can spread those colours around. And I've also I had forgotten up until this point that there was that You Are My Favourite sticker with the scalloped edge that matched the So Happy Together, and I'm a bit gutted that I'd forgotten it was there, because I would have probably brought it in on the page so that the shape was repeated. I don't, in the UK we use a U in our favourites. I wouldn't have used the sticker as it was. I would have built up on top of it, but everything was really stuck down by this point. I thought I'll just save it for something else, so that's why I pulled it off and then just stuck it back on. So what I will do instead is I'll bring in the florals, and what I'm looking to do is the build up on top of those two pink tags. They look great, but they're just kind of sat there without much interest. So I know I will be threading some thread through the top of the tags, because whenever my tags have got holes, I just can't deal with not putting some ribbon or some thread or something through. So I know I'll be doing that, but I do want to put something of more interest into the centre of the tags. So that's what I'm looking for at this point. Lots of moving between different stickers, trying to see which ones look good, don't detract the eye too much, and just kind of complement what's already there. And this is where in a moment I'll start bringing in those florals. In the end, when I look at the design with the florals in place, do I like it before or after? I'm not sure, to be honest. Now I'm looking at it, I really liked it without, but it was one of those moments when I held the floral in my hand where I thought, if I don't put this on here, I probably won't ever use it. And if you've been watching any of my videos, you know that I'm really trying to use my stash this year, get things onto pages, get them into albums, rather than just keeping things because you love them, but it's not the right, quote unquote, right layout for it to be on. So I think the design probably looked nicer, cleaner, more graphic without those florals, but they do soften it. They soften the boxiness of it and the lines. It's more organic shape. So I don't know. I'm on the fence whether I liked it before the florals went on or after, but what they do is they give me a really noticeable visual triangle because they're three very different, as I said, organic shapes. So I'm going to use those areas to build up embellishment clusters, adding some word phrase stickers into each of those areas, so the two at the top and the one below the photo, and I'll just build from there. I decided to put that embellishment cluster underneath the photo because that's where I was going to put my title. But then the more I looked at the page, the more I was actually really happy with the So Happy Together element because it's quite big and different as my title. So I'm really happy with that. So that's going to be the title. So I'm just building in a cluster instead in that kind of space that was a little bit empty at the bottom, just to bring a bit of weight down to the bottom of the page. And I'll be adding my journaling in off camera. Next thing to do will be to bring those hearts in so that I've got the heart element scattered around in those three areas. I'm going to keep the heart on the square, but I'm going to add to it because it's flatter, and I am actually popping the fussy cut ones out with pop dots. There were these great crosses on the sticker sheet, but there were only two of them, so I have cut my the larger one into two pieces so that I can scatter it around, and I've got that three. And then what I've actually done is I pulled out a tiny heart punch that I've had in my stash for years and years, and I never use it, to punch out a few little tiny hearts. You'll see how I do that because there are these smaller ones on the sheet that I'm fussy cutting from, but when I tried to fussy cut them, they just didn't look quite right. They're a little bit too small for me, so they looked a bit wonky, but they managed to punch really well with my tiny punch, and it was a lost gem actually, so I'm probably going to use that one again because it looked really good, really great size for kind of that confetti embellishment. And if I wanted to make them like a puffy sticker, I've still got somewhere in the depths of my stash, I still have glossy accents, so I could do that and make them into a puffy sticker in the future. So my intention is to use my stash, like I said, so I'm using up these enamel dots that came with the stash, scattering them around, and you'll see that I've added on some thread there to the tops of my tags. Really happy with the way those look. I'm really happy with this page. I loved that striped paper, and I'm so happy that it's paired with black and white photos and that it showcases those photos really well. So what I will be doing off camera is adding my journaling in on that right hand side, so where there are some stripes, so that will help to balance everything out. Just put in a few final touches on things. I was going to use more of those heart stickers, enamel dots from Doodleberg, but I'm going to save those for a later project. And I am really happy with how this came together. I love the way the bright colours pop on that black. I'm going to write my journaling over on that right hand side on the stripe, and it will balance things out. It feels a little bit weighted to the left hand side, but I know I'll be writing on that right hand side with black pen, so that's great. I have gutted this page, so I have still got that nice piece of the black with the white polka dot, so you will see that in a future video as I use up the remaining bits of this kit. So I thank you so much for watching. If you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't already, please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.